Hello collectors, and welcome to another episode of Collector's Edition. We're in a different part of my shed because it's the only bench I could find long enough to fit all my hats. I've got 53 hats in here. Some have a story, some don't, so I'm just going to try and get through them as quickly as possible. I've got Oscar here, who's going to do my close-ups for me, because some of them have had spiders in them and I don't really want to put them on my head. So Oscar's the best way to do it. So we'll start from the start. I've got an NWO hat here. That was from a show bag and from the Adelaide show. I was really into WCW wrestling and stuff like that and knew what order was awesome. The next one here I've got is a WWE hat, which came from SmackDown Live when I went there. I've got a couple Night Train hats. Night Train was a entertainment establishment complex that does night shows in Adelaide. It's now closed down. It was sort of like Dracula's in Queensland, but yeah, it's closed down now. I think it's a coffee shop now. Next we've got Goosebumps, which goes with my Goosebumps collection. I didn't even know I had it, but this is just a hat from Target. Obviously when I was younger I wanted it, so I got it. This is McHugh's Brothers & Co. hat. This is a hat that I made for me and my brother because I collect barbershop stuff and other stuff, and he restores engines, stationary engines, like in episode 10 of season 1. You saw him and we sort of made up a little patch, him and his friend Jamie, McHugh Brothers & Co. And yeah, he's put that on a lot of his stuff now, so that's cool. Got my original hat from school, steel. Grease the Arena Spectacular, that was in Adelaide as well. Frozen World, which is on the Gold Coast, I don't know if it's still there, but they had like ice slippery dips and you could play in the snow and it was really cool. Get it? Cool. Just got a driving cap. Birdwood Classic, one of the hats from after you stayed at the Birdwood Classic or stuff like that, or you got it in your little bag of treats. I can't remember which, but yeah, I picked that up. Got a couple fedoras. Fun fact, the fedora that Michael Jackson wore during Billie Jean, the last time it sold was for just under $7,000 for a fedora. But that's not the most expensive hat, I'll get to that. The next one I've got is a Kmart Racing from the Clipsal 500. Further down I've got Clipsal 500 hats. This was probably one year I didn't want a Clipsal 500 hat, so I got a Kmart Racing hat. I've got one of the original McDonald's Murray Bridge hats. We have a McDonald's here in Murray Bridge, and this was one of the original hats from the Murray Bridge store. I don't know how it came in my possession, but it did. Got a Sydney Airport hat from when I was younger. I was really into collecting hats a long time ago, and they've sort of been in storage for a while now. A lot of these are kid sizes, but this one's a Sydney Airport one, so you picked it up in the airport on your way back. National Veteran and Vintage Rally. Again, old cars, Birdwood Classic, stuff like that. Picked it up on the way. I got one of these spray paint hats. You get them at shows, you know, it's just a fun thing to do. Southwark hat. Probably came in a promotion where you buy a carton of Southwark, you get a free hat. This one's a little different. This is a McHugh's Bakery hat. Which is where I work, but this one's sort of a memorial hat. I've got one on permanent display in my shed, and it's got one of my friends passed away, and it's sort of a memorial to him. I always keep it on out because he was a great friend to me and my family, and he'll always be in our hearts and stuff like that. So that's always on display in my shed, and miss you, Frank. Next got a Shave for a Cure, just a hat that we got in the box of promotional stuff when we did Shave for a Cure. Got a Batman hat, I dare say this came from Warner Brothers Studios in the Gold Coast, the original flatback. Got a Toy Story hat with Mr. Potato Head on the front. This came from Walt Disney's On Ice, so this would have been Toy Story on Ice. That's pretty cool. I've got a Red Nose Day hat, because you know when you go into a supermarket and they say, here, buy this, you know, $2 pin. They used to have hats in these boxes and it was really cool. That's why I got a Cure for a Shave and stuff like that. Got a Chicago Bulls hat, a official licensed NBA one. I got this in Queensland when we went a while ago when I was younger. I was really into Chicago Bulls, I'm really into Chicago Cubs. I've always had a thing for Chicago, I don't know why. Got my original Adelaide Crows hat. I'm a big Adelaide Crows fan, not as much now, don't really follow the footy that much, but I went to training programs with the Adelaide Crows and stuff like that, and this was one of my original hats that I wore to every game. This one is a little bit different. I reckon this was made during one of the election times, and Trolls was huge. Trolls is huge now again. But Russ Troll for Prime Minister. Russ Troll is the original Troll dolls. They were made by Russ. You can figure out if they're real either by looking, I think it's above the butt, it says Russ, or on the bottom of the foot, and that's how you know you've got an original Troll doll. So yeah, this was made up, Russ Troll for Prime Minister. Something a little bit different. Got a steel hat, which came with my, I reckon it was my air blower or something like that, from Steel. Give you a little welcome pack. Got an old Wentworth Jail hat, which I got from old Wentworth Jail. I went out to a Holden Day at Tailem Bend, and they were giving away free hats. So that's how I came into possession of this Holden hat. The RFC, much to my disgust of my mother. I've got a Ramblers Football Club hat. A Goofy hat from Walt Disney World. Yep. I also got a Mickey hat. This was a Disney on Ice one. Didn't know it was a kid size, but anyway, I got it because it looked cool. Pokemon hat, which is from a promotion in a toy store. I got that one from. SpongeBob SquarePants, he's a pretty cool hat. From Universal Studios in America. So yeah, that one's pretty cool. It's got SpongeBob. So as I was saying before, every year we went to Clips of 500, I get a hat. Not going this year, a little bit disappointed, but anyway. So here's a couple. Clips of 500 2000. I got a Team Brock hat. Team Brock 22, that was his car number. Rest in peace, Brock. Clips of 500, this was a turn hat. It's got all the turns on it, how fast every straight is. I am a big bucket hat fan, so this is just Clips of 500 bucket hat. This is the red one, which I think was the year before. This one's still got the tag on it because one year I was sick, so my dad bought me one. This was the 10-year anniversary. This is a very early one, Adelaide 500 V8 power. This was one when I went into the pits, it's the paddock, and got a few signatures on there. Good question, you asked me who's on there, I wouldn't have a clue. And then another bucket hat. This one's from 2011. So yeah, different ones there. Phantom of the Opera hat. I do believe this is from the 90s run, or the early 2000s run. I reckon my brother owns this hat, but somehow it landed in my possession. Got a couple Coca-Cola hats. Joy Coca-Cola, they're both the same. No, they're not. Scratch that. I've got a couple Coca-Cola hats. One's got Enjoy Coca-Cola on the back, the other one doesn't. They're promotional hats that I've probably received from my father. Got a Jack Daniels racing hat. This was when I was starting to get out of Clipsal V8, Clipsal 500 hats and starting into Jack Daniels racing. This one's signed by Jack Perkins and Shane Price, who was at that time the two racers of Jack Daniels racing. This one's from the next year. This one's when it was started being run by Perkins Motorsport. Got Shane Price, Todd Kelly, I think McLaughlin as well. A couple different signatures on there. But this was my very first Jack Daniels racing hat. This one I refused to take off. I wore it through school. I got in trouble lots. It's probably why I have so little hair now, because I wore this hat every single day. It's missing buttons. The Velcro doesn't stick as well anymore. This was just a constant everyday hat. One year I decided to change it up and went over to the Lounsey and Win Cup, Triple 8 team, Vodafone and all that. When I was on my honeymoon, we went to Ireland, so I got this Irish driving cap, and inside's an Irish blessing. May the road rise to meet you, may the wind be always at your back, may the sun shine warm upon your face, the rains fall soft upon your fields, and until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Another Disney hat. This one's from Tokyo. It's a fedora, and on the top it's got a imprint of Mickey, and on the side it's got a little Mickey badge. This is my Jackaroo. I bought this in Queensland. It's signed by Tony Irwin, Robert Irwin and Bindi Irwin. We got to meet him at Australia Zoo, so that was pretty cool. Now the most expensive hat, of course you got designer fedoras, they go for $10,000, that's just straight off the shelf. You got designer hats like Beatrice's wedding hat, I think at the royal wedding, the one that's all 8 and crazy, that's $2.something million for that, if you want to buy that. And then there's designer hats like that, that's to go up to $3 million. But the most expensive hat ever sold on market has an undisclosed amount. Valuers put it at tens of millions of dollars, so $20 million at least, and that's the Pope's hat, one of the original Pope's hats with all the jewels and crust and everything in it, and that's one of the most expensive hats ever been sold in the market. Little fun fact for you. So next up we've got McHugh's Bakery hats again. This is my residence and my parents own this bakery, and this is the current hat that some of us wear. We had 20 years, 10 years ago, about that. So we had a special 20th birthday edition, which we got a few of them. But back in the early days, we had corduroy hats, which is like that, and original snapbacks. And yeah, so that's my hat collection. Thank you for watching. I'm on Patreon. There's a competition coming up on Facebook, so make sure you keep your eye out for that. Head over to the page, www.facebook.com collector's edition AU. Yeah, all the deets are down below, and thanks for watching. Keep collecting.